This is Reverend Bill, and it is Monday, Memorial Day, May 26th. And it starts here in Atlanta as a rainy day, and I think it might be this way most of today. Hopefully, you will have a better Memorial Day weekend. And just thought I'd run through a few headlines today. Uh, Demi Lovato has been married, I guess married to someone called Jutes, the very famous, the legendary Jutes. I guess he's from Canada. Um, and if I ever get a chance to meet this Mr. Jutes, I will be sure to ask him, who are you and why should I know who you are? Um, yeah, I thought she was kind of one of these fluid people, though. How does that work? If she wakes up and she's a fluid and she feels like a man, is there a procedure for that, like a standard operating procedure? Like she wake up, I mean, that must be kind of an awkward moment, right? I mean, you wake up, and you shake your husband and say, "Hey, I wake up, I'm a man today." I would imagine that's something he needs to know. I mean, I would want to know, right? I mean, you wake up and your wife is suddenly a man. I would think that would be something that you'd need to check off on a list. Tell your husband that you're a man today would be something you'd want to know. Certainly, your children would want to know that you're your dad for a day. I would think. Um, just one of those things you'd want to take care of. Um, that's kind of one of those things with these liberals. They got to understand they think they can just change everyone's life. I mean, I saw a video the other day of a policeman pulled the guy over, and the cop, asked him for his driver's license, and he said, "Well, I'm feeling like a cat today." Um, and then they got to understand that if they start using this stuff, maybe the solution is to call them on it. I actually think that the policeman did. I don't know whether he actually arrested him. I do know he said that felines are not allowed to drive. He should have brought them in the police station. That's what I think he should have done. Maybe if people do actually get called on these things, they'll stop doing dumb things. That's might be the way to go with these things. I mean, if they claim that they are these things, treat them like that. I think that might be the way to go. Um, what else going on? Uh, Meghan Markle wants to do something no one's ever done before. She wants to be on Vogue, both covers, which she says is impossible, takes impossible demands. Not even Beyonce can do that, she says. Um, I'll tell you what, that means absolutely less than meaningless to me. Why don't you and Beyonce do something that really would be something impressive to me that I would consider to be impossible and get into heaven? Because I don't see either one of you making it into heaven. I think you're both witches, to be honest with you. And I think Beyonce has pretty much admitted it. I know her sister's pretty much admitted it. Megan, I don't know, honey. I think you might have pretty much admitted it. I think you might have admitted crystals. But anyway, enough of that. Britney Spears is in the news. She got in trouble. Well, she's complaining because I guess now she's single again. She's divorced, and she was on a plane, and she was smoking, and the stewardess, I guess, told her to put it out, and Britney went public saying that the attendant was weird. Now, Brittany, I know you've been probably taking private planes, and you're recently divorced, and you've probably had, people holding your hand for many years now, and you're going to try to do it on your own, and that's great. And I also kind of heard that you're a witch too, and that's why Brittany Murphy died in her own house. That's what I heard, and actually her husband died in that house too. But I will say this. If you're going to be flying alone now and you're going to be flying coach, you got to understand, honey, you don't smoke on planes anymore. So that I think is weird that you think you still can. But yeah, no more smoking on planes. Next on the list, we have Jussie Smollett, who has doubled down that life is unfair. He was actually attacked, and it's life's unfair. Okay, let me tell you something. You're 42 years old. What's unfair is life was handed to you, and you were panicking because you have no skills. Your show was coming down, and you being a liberal, were not used to the fact that you actually had to work. You thought things were going to be handed to yourself. And your DEI was hitting on all cylinders, you being gay and being black, and I'm sure a whole bunch of other things I don't even know about. And you decided to rip into stick your hand in the cookie jar to get yourself a little extra promotion, and it hurt. And the breaks. I mean, uh, it's tough for all of us. So life can be unfair, but then sometimes life can be fair, and I'm going to file this under life can be fair sometimes. I think this whole race thing has been a problem in my side, and I'll tell you what, I've said this a lot, and I think the race thing has been far worse now than it was in the 70s and 80s when I grew up. I mean, you know, unbelievable. I just, we used to joke about race back then, and people would laugh. I don't think we can laugh about it now. Um, anyway, whatever. Next thing that was very interesting. There was if you get a chance to see it, I think you should. Um, Trump sits down with the South African leader. Now, the South African, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but there was apartheid in the 80s and 90s where a small number of white people were running the country against a high number of black people and were abusing them, and there was racism. And through the years, that was fought. And about 20 years ago, that was ended. And what's happened is the reverse has happened over the years. And now the majority of black people have actually taken over, unsurprisingly enough. And now the white people that are the farmers have been neglected, and now they're being killed, and the farms are being taken away with no restitution, and they're being burnt down. And it's pretty tragic over there. And Donald Trump was entertaining the South African president the last few days, and they were talking. He was giving him aid, of course. All the African nations get aid, and he was here asking for aid. I don't know whether it was planned or not. It wasn't brought up by Donald Trump, or actually, I don't believe it was brought up by the White House at all. It was brought up, I believe, by the South African reporter, and even then, it wasn't really mentioned too much. And then the South African president made a very condescending answer. I guess what happened is, and you can watch it yourself, but from recollection, it was, I think, the South African reporter made a comment about when will President Trump start to listen more to the South African president or to the politicians, because there's a lot of lies coming out, something to that effect. And then when Trump was supposed to say something, it got cut off by the president, and the president more or less said, like I said, it's kind of condescending. He started saying, well, when President Trump starts to realize he's got to start listening to the people. I brought a bunch of people back here, and I don't hear him asking them questions. He's just assuming, I don't know where he's listening to. Maybe I think he might have said something like he's listening to the internet. I don't know. But again, it was kind of dismissive, and I think Trump didn't like that. But the thing was, Trump came back at him, and it looked like it was organized. Now, did Donald Trump plan to use it at him afterwards? Did he come at him just in case something like this happened? I don't know. But he did have some good ammunition, and he came at him with facts, figures, times, video. He had a film there that he showed. And anyway, he had him lined up pretty well. The surprising thing is, after he nailed him on this, all the liberal newspapers took his side. They all came out saying, as usual, taking the liberal side. President Trump ambushed him with lies and with falsehoods and all this kind of stuff that you'd imagine that liberals would do. But really, I got to tell you, it's so nice to see a president that not only goes to a meeting, but goes to a meeting, knows what he wants, knows what he will give, and then when challenged, floors, decks his opponent. It's so nice. No uncertain terms. Yeah. I mean, it's so nice to see someone who's like, boom, 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 boom. This is what I want, and um, and I think things are going to change. My last note is, I guess, the I don't know what you want to call them, the showrunners, I guess, for lack of a better term, of the View came to them and asked the ladies to drop their politics from the View. I guess they've gotten some feedback, and the ladies said no. They said no, 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 no. No, they need us. They're like, we're doing politics all the time. It's like that. They really, it's not. Well, first of all, because let's be honest, they're clowns. Everyone's laughing at them. And they're like, oh no, 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 our people. Probably shouldn't have said, our people, our viewers. They meant probably to say our seals. They just sit there and clap all the time. But they said no, our viewers. They need us to talk, politics. They need us. So they said we're going to continue doing it. So they said whatever. But if they need you to do it, it sounds to me kind of like drug addicts. I think the first step is to admit that they have a problem. If they need you, they need to look in the mirror, and maybe we could form some kind of a support group, because you're not doing anyone any good, and they're not doing anyone any good. Just continuing to watch you, when they're staring off into space, listening to the stuff like saying that Joe Biden should be the Surgeon General. By the way, I did not make that up. That was Whoopi Goldberg. She actually said Joe Biden should be the Surgeon General because she's a really good doctor. That was a Whoopi Goldberg quote. You can look it up. All right, that's it for today. This is the Reverend Bill Ryan signing off. Have a great Memorial Day, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.